Welcome back to Fak'8 TV News. This is Gregory Higgins, and you're at the only place where you can hear the real fake news that matters. And I'm here with my anchor man on my left, recently released from captivity and back in our newsroom.
Mike Siri here, and the official statement is that my earlier absence was not in any way connected or related to any space alien abduction. I was just very ill, that's all.
Oh, well, we're sorry to hear that. Did you have the flu?
No, they didn't tell me what I had. I was just very ill, that's all. No space aliens or government agencies were involved.
Oh, well, I guess we're glad that you're back and you're recovered from your illness. I expect you're going to be looking to get paid for a sick day. And what other kind of stories have you got for us tonight, Mike?
Well, I've got stories on the best place to hide your marijuana, where to get prosthetic penises, how to improve your memory, and the best place to get laid.
And also with us tonight on my right,
Jeff Semperman. I'm going to tell you how to survive Groundhog Day, climate change, nuclear attack, and deportation.
A court in Pennsylvania rejected the claim by a prison inmate that a bag of marijuana found in his rectum did not in fact belong to him. The inmate claimed that his fellow inmate had put it there because he needed a safe place to leave it where he knew he wouldn't forget where it was. The court was not convinced that one of the inmate's cellmates had placed the bag while the inmate was asleep and that he had not been aware of its presence until it was found by correctional staff during a routine search. When questioned on how he did not realize it was there, the inmate stated, "I just thought I was having another one of those intimate dreams about my cellmate."
very interesting story, Mike.
Suffering from
Hey, you
occasional
covered that.
irregularity.
I would say so.
And Jeff has our next story about what's going to happen this Groundhog Day.
Officials in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania are concerned about a strange ailment that seems to have struck their famous groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil. As many of you are aware, Phil's the groundhog who makes a widely broadcast weather prediction every February 2nd. This year, a report from the Punxsutawney Memorial Library, where Phil is housed, says that he is suffering an unprecedented condition which has affected his vision. A top marmotologist, Dr. Sylvia Monax of Stanford University, has examined the animal. After rigorous testing and examination, Dr. Monax has found that Phil's eyes and optic nerves are responding normally to light, but that some previously unknown mental condition is keeping Phil from processing these responses. The result is that Phil is currently perceiving his surroundings as complete and utter darkness. Dr. Monax believes the condition is temporary and expects that Phil will recover completely after a few weeks. She declined to speculate on what this ailment may signify for the severity of the remaining winter. Back to you.
Maybe back in the darkness, who knows?
Well, we won't be seeing his shadow, but he won't be seeing anything else either.
Wow, that's a horror. It has been reported to us that the chief medical examiner of the state of Vermont has been removed from his position due to actions unrelated to his normal job functions. Through our investigative reporting at Fak'8 TV News, we have discovered the reason why Chief Medical Examiner Stephen Shapiro had been removed from his position. It appears that the medical examiner had acquired a taste for pan-fried human liver and has been taking livers from cadavers being examined. The most recent incursion was recently discovered after he set off the fire alarm while cooking a liver in the examination room. When a fellow examiner entered the examination room after hearing the sound of the alarm, she was shocked to see the chief examiner blood red-handed and drooling over the remains of a cadaver. After the assistant examiner reported the incident, a quick examination of other cadavers still in the state morgue found that all those that he had examined were missing their livers. And remember, you only hear news like this at Fak'8 TV News.
Wow. Live and let liver.
Pan-fried.
And Mike, you got a great story for us.
An Illinois woman has gone into business selling tiny prosthetic penises for transgender boys as young as 5. Sarah Dasock, the mother of a gender nonconforming child, is marketing the silicone underwear inserts on a website that declares, "Helping your kids live fully and embodied is our goal." The penises, which she is manufacturing in her garage, are currently available in a range of skin shades from beige to dark chocolate. She is currently looking into branding options to allow the penises to be decorated with a theme of the child's favorite superhero, professional sports team, or cartoon character, but so far has not been able to elicit interest from copyright holders.
Wow. That's another great story. And Jeff, our next story goes to Jeff about climate change.
The Environmental Protection Agency has released new guidelines in order to respond to criticism that under the Trump administration, the agency has not been responsive to the issue of global climate change. New guidelines are announced as providing a compromise between those who believe in the hoax perpetrated by the vast left-wing conspiracy that's been led by an overwhelming majority of climate scientists, and those who point out the recent incidents of abnormally cold weather are proof that the fears of increasing global temperatures are overblown. According to these new guidelines, the EPA will continue to dismiss concerns of global warming due to increased atmospheric levels of carbon dioxide and methane most of the time. But the agency will respond to the concerns of climate change believers by shifting focus temporarily to an alternative set of policies on any day when the forecast temperature is at least 5 degrees over the historical average for that date.
Very interesting. They're going to dismiss concerns.
Except when the temperature is going to be high, then they'll shift to the different regulations and act as if climate change were real.
And then they go to alternative reality, I guess. Is that what you call that? A recent study has found that an increase of female and homosexual politicians would greatly decrease the incidence of sexual assault in the political workplace, as heterosexual male politicians have been found to commit such assaults at a much higher rate than other demographics. While victims advocate groups have embraced the recommendations of the report, news agencies across the country, including Fak'8 TV News, have been less positive. A reduction in sexual assaults, harassment, and other misbehavior by prominent politicians would greatly decrease the amount of lurid sexual scandals that we have at Fak'8 TV News and other news stations around the country will be able to cover. Newscasters around the country in Fak'8 TV News cannot live, be enthralling, or stay in existence without those political sexual assaults and prostitution news stories. So we beg of you, please don't vote for women or homosexuals for political offices, and keep voting male sexual predators into office where they can abuse their authority and bring you the exciting news scandals you love to hear about. And don't forget to thank your sexual assailant politicians today for the highly covered, never-ending news stories that give you something to talk about during one of your boring work days.
Completely agree.
Goodness, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
And next, Mike.
If you've been having difficulty remembering the phone numbers of all your family and friends, the names of people you've just met, what you need to pick up at the supermarket, or where you just left something laying around in your house or on the job, there is a solution for you today, and the solution is easily accessible. We here at Fak'8 TV News Laboratories have the secret to developing a happier, healthier, clearer mind, significantly improved memory, and language learning capabilities. It also completely eliminates the possibility of contracting dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's diseases. The newly invented and developed technology is Jellyfish Implants. That's it. It has now been proven at Fak'8 TV News Laboratories through our work with Johns Hopkins School of Neurodegenerative Disease that implanting a live jellyfish into your brain will significantly improve your memory and cognitive capabilities through the RNA editing of brain proteins and electrical stimulation of deteriorating tissue. It will also give you the ability to see and make your eyes glow in the dark. Some of our viewers may be skeptical, but when have you ever heard of a jellyfish forgetting anything? So, if you think you may possibly be developing a loss of memory, call us or come by Fak'8 TV News Laboratories for a detailed quote today and get your jellyfish implants before you forget that you heard it right here on Fak'8 TV News.
That'll help a lot of people these days with the...
I would think so.
I think their definition of easily available might differ slightly from mine. That doesn't sound easy.
Jeff?
With Valentine's Day approaching, Vermont Department of Fish and Wildlife has issued a reminder to bowhunters that anyone dressing up either themselves or their cherubic young children as Cupid should not use actual bows or arrows as props and should under no circumstances actually shoot arrows at any person. The department notes that the number of so-called accidents involving injuries caused by broadhead arrows dramatically increases every year in mid-February, and it's hoped that this public service announcement will help avoid this trend this year.
Wow.
They're not eating Tide Pods, they're shooting each other.
Yeah, I'd hate
goodness.
to be hit by one of those arrows. That would be not too good.
No.
Gregory again, and DNA Registry services. DNA Registry services such as Ancestry, DNA, and 23andMe are providing an incredibly large number of people all over the world with the ability to identify and connect with relatives they previously knew nothing about. Finding family members that you never knew you had could be a great joy. However, a recent survey of customers of several major DNA testing services found that a large percentage of respondents who thought that they would be happy to find their long-lost unknown relatives have been unhappy with the results. Many say they expected to find relatives who were famous, wealthy, or otherwise accomplished. But the relatives that they have found have been extremely disappointing. Unfortunately, the majority of these long-lost, unknown relatives are not nobility, celebrity, captains of industry, or Nobel laureates as hoped. Instead, most of these previously unknown relatives are people that the family forgot for a good reason and turned out to be broke losers that need a place to stay where they don't have to pay rent or buy food. Some young women have reported that men are using DNA registries as a sort of dating site and complain they've received messages from third, fourth, or fifth cousins looking to hook up. So before you take that final step to register on DNA registry, just stop and think again before it's too late.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Seary here again. There is another wave of the future change in this country. Good church-going people are now going to a new style of God-franchised church, complete with a new style of praise the Lord music, entertainment, trained preachers, and disco lighting. Although there is no liquor selling bar in the new disco church, there is a coffee bar that has replaced it. I don't know how many people know this, but if you're interested in the best place to pick up men and women these days, it's in a new wave Praise the Lord disco church. The bars are out and the disco church is in. You can find a lot of the horniest men and women in these churches. A lot of the people in these churches are there trying to use God to fight a sex addiction and find a place where they can praise the Lord and get laid at the same time. So if you're horny and lonely, this is the place to go, and you won't have a hangover the next day. And remember, after you've had a great, hot, and horny after-church experience, you can take the time to stop and praise the Lord for Fak'8 TV News. So get out there, get saved, and have a happy and a horny new year today.
That sounds like some great news
I
there,
think
Mike.
so, you know.
Well, they all admit that they're sinners.
Well, second coming, you know.
You can work on it.
With increased concerns of a possible nuclear exchange with North Korea, the Department of Homeland Security recently released a list of suggested preparations that it says every American should make to be prepared in the event of an attack. Guidelines include a very extensive list of preparations and supplies, including having an underground shelter built with a generator and reverse osmosis water purification system, as well as several years' worth of food, firearms, ammunition, and medical supplies. The DHS recommendations have been criticized by some Democrats in the legislature who claim that an underground bunker is not feasible for those living in apartments or renting, and criticizing the high cost of the preparations, which are estimated to cost several $1,000s. In response, a DHS representative stated that Americans should re-examine their priorities, and that those who think such preparations are unaffordable should work harder, and they should stop wasting their money on cappuccino, booze, loose women, and movies.
Thank you.
Those recommendations are available on the DHS website, I believe.
Yeah, again, I'll have to look up that website. I might need a bunker soon, huh? We'll hang out there and praise the Lord for our horny church, I guess.
I think
That would
not
be
a bad
the place
idea.
to do that. And for our next story, just this past week, the United Health Foundation released its 2017 health ranking report, holding fast to its position for many years that Vermont has always placed in the top 5 healthiest states, and this year proved no exception, with the state coming in third after Massachusetts and Hawaii. There are many factors which determine such rankings, but one may well be due to the high rate of alcohol, opiate, and heroin addiction. The Health Foundation has proven that it is very difficult for viruses or diseases to exist or take hold in a body that is polluted with alcohol, opiates, or heroin. And the fact is that the people that are addicted to alcohol, opiate, and heroin don't live long enough to suffer from many common diseases that are included in the health ranking report. So that's it. Keep up the great work, fellow Vermonters, and live a long life, maybe.
Speedball here, speedball
The
there.
longer you live, the greater your chances of contracting some serious illness like cancer, heart disease. It's been
That's
proven.
true. That's true.
I wonder how you contact opiates disease.
Well, if you know anybody recently out of prison, check their rectum.
Very interesting.
Mike Siri here. In other health news, Vermont health experts are warning that a new flu strain has been discovered. The patient infected with the flu arrived in a local hospital, and his condition has confounded doctors and epidemiologists. At first, due to the unusual symptoms of the victim, the man's illness was misdiagnosed. While being treated initially for high fever, weakness, and difficulty breathing at a hospital which has not been identified for security reasons, the man rapidly began to show signs of transmorphing into an alien creature. The transformed creature, with large dark eyes and an enlarged head, showed disturbing signs of excessive contemplative thinking and showed a worrying lack of interest in normal human concerns such as sports, shopping, political debates. Sociologists fear that the victim will never be able to fully participate in modern society as long as these symptoms remain untreated. Due to the serious threat of this unknown illness, researchers from the Center for Disease Control were quickly contacted. Investigators soon discovered that the victim is a collector of meteorites, and it appears that after splitting open a meteorite to examine its internal structure, he had contracted a virus that may have been traveling through space for thousands or even millions of years until it reached Earth. There is no known cure for this new alien flu, and it has turned out to be highly contagious. It has already infected 2 of the medical staff at the hospital, despite standard precautions against infection. The man is currently being kept in strict isolation, as experts fear that without containment, the alien flu could spread quickly to infect the entire planet and turn us all into aliens.
Aliens who aren't interested in sports, political debates, that would really reduce our viewership if there were an outbreak.
That is for sure.
That sounds just terrible.
We could turn into
Very
aliens.
worrying.
I hope you didn't get close to those.
No.
sick people.
I stay away from meteorites. An asteroid every now and then. But
Oh, very interesting. And Jeff has a great story about our future.
Due to changes in immigration policy and the devolution of the United States of America, a demolition date has been set for what was formerly known as the Statue of Liberty. It had been a welcoming figure and a guiding light in New York Harbor since 1886. But recently it's been declared that its use is no longer necessary, and in fact, its invitation to tired and poor masses is no longer seen as a message that the country wishes to send to potential immigrants. Suggestions have been made to update the inscription, to call for affluent, industrious individuals, preferably from Northern European countries. But it was eventually decided preferable to remove the statue altogether. It's been overwhelmingly agreed that it is now an obsolete figurehead, and that it's much more valuable for its scrap metal value, particularly the copper sheathing. The Department of Interior says it won't be that big of a loss, because after the statue has been removed, a top-rated, newly designed, highly efficient oil fracturing rig will be used to fill its space. Its location on what's currently called Liberty Island is perfectly situated for connection of an oil pipeline leading directly to the oil refineries in Bayonne, New Jersey. With the removal of the obsolete statue, the Department of the Interior plans to auction off naming rights to the highest bidder to select the new name for the island. It appears that for now, the Statue of Deportation is the first pick for the new name on the oil rig.
We gotta get those foreigners out of this country, you know?
oh yeah.
It's over 100 years old. It's out of date. You know,
Yeah.
that's why do we want our country represented by some 100-year-old statue?
It's everybody sending their losers over here. What are you supposed to do with all of them black hole people? They come out of some
Yeah.
place where nobody wants to be. They come in.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's it for our show. This is Gregory Higgins, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our news tonight. So you guys at home, ladies, children, and of all sizes, colors, and ethnicities, when the story's too good to wait for the facts, we here at Fak'8 TV News bring you the truth as we see it. May you all live a good and clean life, and remember to be honest to the spirit that lives within you. Have a great day and a good night until next time. Mike, could you say good night?
Good night, everybody.
And Jeff, could you say good night?
Good night, viewers everywhere.
And that's it for our show. Good night, people.